Say bad things. Good. See you again. See you again. And then did you check your head?
I did.
Jeff?
Yeah.
I'd like to attend some of the lawn meetings, maybe like Bonneville Hall.
Would love it.
Terrace.
Would love it. I would love that. And I think one thing in that Washington Terrace area where they're not included within this, that we can really emphasize at that time. And I'll even talk about the disappointment of Walquist and look where, the disappointment of Roy, and then you're right at the top of the list.
Be glad when Dean's back. Do you think it'd be good to turn the time over to Diane and introduce her family, or no?
I'm going to ask her because I talked to her earlier, and at first she was saying no.
It got quiet, so I guess that means the tardy bells rang. So we will get started. Welcome to our board meeting this August afternoon. It's kind of bittersweet to be able to speak in this mic that President Richardson once spoke in, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I will excuse board member Dean Olborn, who's out of town, and we wish him an enjoyable time. With that, Robert Peterson, would you lead us in that Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Robert. Board, the first item on our agenda tonight would be the consent calendar. I would entertain a motion of those who've read that on the consent calendar.
So moved.
So moved by Doug, second by Paul. All in favor? Aye. That carries. Thank you, board. So the agendas are posted on the walls if you wanted to see what's going on. It's very long and we will be here for hours. But the exciting one is this very first one, item discussion and action item number 3, the naming of the boardroom of the Brent W. Richardson boardroom. Brent and I kind of go back a couple of years. I've served, what did we say?
16.
Oh yeah, thank you. 16 years together. When I came on in 2002, when Brent was the vice president with Jerry DeGroot as the president. And Brent's a very intimidating guy until you get to know him, and man, has he got a heart of gold. And he wrapped him around me and kind of gave me the the lead in and what I could and couldn't do, and so I didn't make myself a fool and embarrass the Weber School District. And Brent was a great mentor to me. And when he made the announcements, Brent never complained during his process of being sick about anything. Never to me, never to Jeff. In his last days, we were sitting watching him, and we had to entertain a discussion of which he shared something with us very shortly. But Brent's an amazing man, and the discussion came up between Jeff and I, and is there something we could do that would not be abnormal, but would be very abnormal for Brent? And Robert compiled a list of board members since 1905. Mr. Whittison's number 77 of the board members that we've had in the Weber School District. Of that 112-year history, Brent is the second longest tenured board member and the only tenured one with 18 years going on 19 in this building, serving the whole time in this boardroom, of which the last 9 years he's served as our board president and done a valiant job. Love him to death, and this saying that's above there is critical to what he's done for kids. We went out and had a dedication on a building, and it was freezing cold, and he was in his snowmobile outfit. But he didn't care what he looked like or what was going on. He was going to be comfortable, and he wanted to make sure that school got a hold dug that was right. That's one of many, many, many stories that we would have at USB conferences. So with that, I'd like to turn the time over to Superintendent Stevens, who actually is behind this. And
Well, thank you. First, a welcome to Diane and her family. We'll introduce them in a few minutes. Board, I think it's very appropriate that the action that we'll be taking tonight is taking place. Very appropriate. I wanted to just share a couple of things from my vantage point about Brent and his years of service. I was appointed as curriculum director just about 4 or 5 months before Brent came on the board. And so my time in the district office has kind of coincided with Brent's tenure on the board. When Brent came on the board, one of the things that he brought to this district that was so powerful and relevant was a vision of technology. And Weber School District is known for its technology department, the vision that department has, some of the things that department has done, services provided, and so forth, and infrastructure established. And so much of that, I give credit to Brent and his coming onto the board with that technology vision. Brent had a very sound understanding of business and economic development. And over the last 6 or 7 years, as we've worked together as board president and superintendent, it's not uncommon to meet with municipality leaders that want to entertain redevelopment, whether that's through an RDA, a CDA, or a CRA. Brent knew under what circumstances projects should be incentivized with tax dollars, with tax increment. And he also had a very clear understanding of what kind of projects should not be used or incentivized with tax increment. And those were always guided by principle. It was always guided by principle. There were some guiding principles that I'd observe as Brent would go through those kinds of conversations, dialogue, exchanges with some of our civic leaders. Brent was a man of principle. As a board president, Brent had a very clear understanding of the distinction between the role of the board and the role of administration. The role of the board as policymakers, understanding that the board's role was to establish that vision, that direction, establish that through policy, and then administration was to carry that out in the day-to-day operation of things. And that was very clear to Brent. He never crossed that line. And I think that that's one of the primary reasons for the health of this school district, because there's that very clear division of purpose, and I think Brent really helped to establish that. Brent was a remarkable decision maker. He had the capacity to look at an issue and quickly discern key elements of that issue and get right to the heart of the matter quickly. And what guided that was a strong philosophy that I'd heard him repeat many times, and it's on the wall up there now: children always come first. That was the thing that guided so much of Brent's decision making. John mentioned a little bit about this last 15, 16 months. Brent, when he was diagnosed with this illness, all of us watched as he faced this with dignity and courage. Through treatments, I recall one time I called him on a business matter, and I asked him if he had a moment to talk, and we went through the business kind of things, and I knew it had a recent chemo treatment. I said, "Brent, how are you doing?" And he said, "I just had to pull off the side of the road to take your call. I'm biking up to Snow Basin." He just continued to live life in remarkable ways. Brent never missed a meeting during that period of his illness. And all of us saw evenings when Brent would come, and we knew he wasn't feeling well. As John indicated, there was never any complaint. I remember one of the later board meetings, maybe it was about May, he came with a bag filled with chemo in it and a pump. And I knew he wasn't well, but you couldn't tell that from the way he conducted that board meeting. Never drew attention to himself or his illness. He continued to put that focus on children. Brent made a statement to me that he said, "Jeff, I'm either going to serve out my term or serve out my life." He was determined that he was not going to resign from this board. He'd been elected, and he felt a deep responsibility to those who had put him here and to the children of this school district. He said, "I'm either going to serve out my term or serve out my life." What a tremendous example for us. I don't want to embarrass Diane, but I do believe it's appropriate to indicate that Brent and Diane have made a very generous and sizable donation to our foundation of $100,000. He called me before that donation was made and asked if I'd think about a way that we could use that funding. And I'm pleased to report to Diane and the board that the foundation will partially match that donation and establish a permanent endowment. And we are beginning in several of our high schools this year an Education 1010 class where we are inviting some of our current students who we believe would make outstanding teachers to take some education concurrent enrollment classes. And as we identify those that we believe would be the most influential, effective teachers, we're going to offer them what will be called the Brent and Diane Richardson Teach for Weber scholarships. We appreciate so much that generosity, not only of treasure, but of time and of service. With that board, I think it's very appropriate to make a motion that this boardroom be known as the Brent W. Richardson Boardroom, and I'd make that recommendation.
Thank you, Superintendent. Board, you've heard the nomination to make this Brent W. Richardson. Do I have a first? Moved by Doug, seconded by Mitzi. Any discussion? I would like to say one thing. Diane, thank you for sharing Brent with us for 19 years. More so, thanks for sharing with him for 15 months during the time where, like Jeff said, we said, you are here with us when you could be doing that valuable time with your family. And we muchly appreciate him, love him to death. And you opened your home, you opened your family, and you opened your hearts. Board, I'd like to entertain it if you'd like to make a suggestion to Diane, the family. We'd do it right now before we take this second, if that's all right. You're welcome to say something to Diane if you'd like. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimous.
Great. Let's let
Diane, we'd like to give you a minute if you'd like to take a minute and introduce your family. We don't want to make you uncomfortable.
This is really nice. It's very humbling to be here. We always felt that the cream of the crop anywhere was on this board and in this administration, and that's why the schools do so well within this district. These people are dedicated and willing to give of their time to make sure that this district has exactly that, the children in mind, and the teachers, because without happy teachers, you don't have happy, educated children. Both Brent and I had the opportunity to teach in Weber School District for a short time, and we loved it. And I think that's when we did that at such early ages, when we were in our 20s, is when we really got a bug for education. And Brent did serve on the foundation board of the Ogden School District for a little while before we moved into this district. I am very appreciative of this, and I know he's very happy with this. This is very nice. When we decided to donate that money, Brent fought vigorously with Superintendent Stevens to make it anonymous. He did not want anyone to know. He just wanted the money to go for the betterment of the students here. And Dr. Stevens was very insistent that that would not be the case. We have an awesome family, and each of our children have more education than we have. We each have bachelor's degrees from Weber State, and our children have a minimum of a master's degree. And so we're very proud of them. And education was very important in my home growing up, and it was very important in our home as our children grew. And they were guided and supported by fabulous teachers in the school district. We believe in public education, and we firmly support public education. We now have 5 and soon to be 6 grandchildren in this school district. And we have 5, soon to be 6 others outside of this district, but all in public education. So with that, I would like to introduce you to my mom. Stand up, please, because I think with my parents' guidance is where this started for me. And I'm sure Brent's parents are just as proud of him as we are. This is my mom, Joanne Almer. This is my son, Mike Richardson, his wife, Anna, and their 3 children. Go ahead and stand up, kids. Caleb, Barrett, and Mariah. Sarah is our daughter, Sarah Wickern, her husband, Don Wickern, and their children, I should say Alexander, to me he's Xander, Olivia, to me is Livy, and Contessa, who is Tess. But we are so blessed to have 2 of our 4 families very close to us and here with us tonight, and I thank them for that. And again, thank you for all you do. Appreciate you so much.
Diane, maybe we could get you and your family to just come up. Will you bring you and your family up to the board, please? We'd love to give you a hug and a kiss. Well, at least a hug.
I think I've already had a hug from each of these awesome people. I'm sorry. It looks so nice. Thank you. You too. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your family. Thank you. Your mom. This is awesome. Thank you. Come on. Take that.
Thank you. All right, don't steal his food.
You can have it. Shoot, yeah. Take it whatever you want. Here, take this one too. Just take the whole thing.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Here you go. Here's some. Here's, you take the whole thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you. Yes.
You do like the handshakes or you fist bump? Yeah.
I'm sure there's one here
There's
somewhere.
one here.
Look.
There you go. No, you get the whole thing.
Mike says, no, don't take me in. You can have everything. Just keep this stuff. I'm gonna get you more.
Thank you.
Mike, if they choke on the lifesavers, I can't do the Heimlich anymore. That's why I kept mine. Diane, you're more than welcome to leave. All right, thank you, board. That's very nice. The room means that much more to us, doesn't it? We'll move on to action item B, approval of tax rate presented by Dr. Robert Peterson, please.
Okay, board. When we had our hearing in June, we approved tax rates, and all but one tax rate was in, which was historic for us. It's the quickest the county's ever been. The rate that wasn't in was the state basic levy. So this is in your board packet, plus it's up here. Just as a comparison, this was last year's assessed value, 8.6 billion, and it was an 8.8% increase over the prior year. And then here are the final rates for last year, and you can see the total rate was 006693. And the certified, and then it turned into the proposed rate that was given to us by the state. You could see the levies there. And these levies right here are within your control as far as the certified levy. This is controlled by the state. And then this right here, GO debt's not part of the certified rate, but it's also one that we control. You can see the assessed value went up from 8.6 billion to almost 9.5 billion, an almost 10% increase. New growth was for that much of a percent of the 9.9, and the change in reassessments, because property gets reassessed, was this much. Because assessments go up, typically the certified rates go down, and you could see that the rates have decreased by 4.78% over the prior year. So we were at 6693, we're now at 6373. And this general obligation debt has been the same since 2006. The superintendent asked me to see if it went back further than that, and the bond election we had in 2000, there was no rate change, but in 2003, 2004, there was a little blip up for some reason, and then it settled down, and then that's the way it's been since 2006. So and I didn't have records going back further, but so we've held the rate constant through several bond election cycles, which is very remarkable. Very few districts have that precision or that will of the board to do that kind of thing. At this time, John, Vice President, we'd like you to approve the new tax rate, overall tax rate of 0.006373.
Thank you, Robert. John's appropriate. Board, I'd entertain a motion on the proposed tax rate 2017 of the final rate from the county for school year 2017-2018. Paul, motion by Paul, second by Janice. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion carries. Thank you. I believe, first of all, I apologize. Staff, thank you for being here tonight with us. You are not obligated to be here, but it's sure nice to have you with us. With that, consideration of a resolution calling for a special bond election in the district relating to the issuance of a $97 million general obligation bond, school bond, and provided for related matters presented by Robert Peterson. I would like to recognize Ryan, thank you, our bond assistant, and our financial advisors, Preston Kirk and Matt Dunnigan. So, Doug Dell. Well, I wrote Dunnigan. So you're Dunnigan. Dugdale, thank you, Matt. So Robert, please.
Okay, just real briefly, because we, as you know, have been studying this and analyzing it for months now. We had a special study session in June to hammer out a lot of the details, and we kept you apprised all along the way since administration decided it was necessary to go to the voters for bond issuance so that we can build and construct necessary projects. And then yesterday we had a study session that was very thorough, and we did a good job. We had the board did a good job in learning about and asking questions and getting as informed as possible. Also, this year we did something different. We gathered more data through a survey company, Y2 Analytics. They did an email survey plus a focus groups, and they provided a lot of very useful data. And we did our own survey through our own SurveyMonkey mechanism for those that follow our Facebook page. So this has been studied, and after the direction or the indication from last night is that we go with the $97 million proposal, and you have that in your board packet and all the language, and so that's all I had to say on that, is that we ask you to approve the $97 million proposal, which will go on the ballot on November 7th.
Robert, well done. Thank you. Board, I'd entertain a motion to move forward with the resolution calling for a special bond election in the district relating to $97 million general obligation school building bond and related matters. Janice, I have a motion by Janice. Second by Doug. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much, Preston and Ryan and Matt and Robert, and we're excited to move forward with that and get
I'd
rid of it.
like to add these three have done a great job. Also, it's been good to have Scott Zelmer. He's our director of facilities, and he has done a really good job in prioritizing and in getting cost estimates. We feel very comfortable with our cost estimates for the 5 projects that would be built with the passage of this bond, and then plus the work of lots of individuals when it comes to boundaries and student growth and various things. And then we can't go on without Lane Finley. He has done yeoman's work in helping put together a lot of the data and gathering information so that we can make the best decision possible. So kudos to all these folks.
I must say ditto to those and everybody else, especially within our bond family or our school district family, as we move forward and rally behind to get the support from our community to make good things continue to happen. So thank you. And I agree. Item D, selection of an architect for Fremont addition, which would become part of this potential bond. Scott Zelmer, please.
Thank you, President Ritchie, Superintendent Stevens Board. In response to the growth that we're seeing out in the Fremont Cone specifically, an RFP was issued for architectural services to design a 12-classroom new addition to go on to Fremont High School. That would be paid for as part of this future bond that we're hoping the public will support. This project is contingent upon that bond approval. The following list of pre-approved architects presented designs to members of the Capital Improvement Committee on July 27th of this year. Bott Pantone Architects, Design West Architects, Method Studios, MHTN Architects, NJRA Architects, and VCBO Architects all came in and put quite a bit of time into making a presentation and showing us how they would approach the issues that we face there. The Capital Improvement Committee met and discussed the designs presented to them, spent a lot of time processing through what really was the best fit for all the things that we needed to have happen. And as a result of that, the committee unanimously voted to award that design out to Bott Pantone Architects. It's a recommendation of the Capital Improvement Committee that the Board of Education approve Bott Pantone as the architects to develop the 12 classroom addition for Fremont High School.
Thank you, Scott. Board, you've heard the proposal, which some of you have set on for the approval of Bott Pantone as the architect for the 12 classroom addition at Fremont High. I'd entertain a motion. Paul, motion by Paul, seconded by Mitzi. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Scott, and to the committee. I seen those drawings. It's very frugal, conservative. Having seen no other matters on the agenda, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Or not. Motion by Mitzi, second by Paul. All in favor? Aye, thank you. Again, thanks to everybody for coming. What a great night. Thanks, Superintendent.